Well, yesterday there was an earthquake in MAGA world, and several pieces of the wall of lies that Donald Trump has built for himself came crashing down on the top of his piss-flavored cotton candy-covered head. Yes, the guy who hires all the best people had his campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, convicted of 8 federal crimes by a jury of his peers. A jury which was so serious about their duties and cautious and deliberate in their thoughtfulness that they couldn't come to a unanimous decision on another 10 charges which he was facing. As an aside, get ready because Paul Manafort is facing a second trial next month on a whole new set of charges more closely related to the 2016 campaign. This news alone about Paul Manafort would have been devastating. But wait, there's more. 237 miles away in Manhattan, Donald Trump's longtime close friend, ally, campaign spokesman, and personal attorney and fixer, Michael Cohen, pled guilty in federal court to several charges, including tax fraud, false statements to a bank, and campaign finance violations, in which he admitted to committing at Donald Trump's direction, which included the hush money payments which were paid to the multiple women Donald Trump cheated on the pregnant Melania with. They were paid off by Cohen to keep them quiet and prevent damage to his late-stage campaign for the presidency. And effectively, Donald Trump was implicated as what's known as an unindicted co-conspirator. Take a beat, because I'm going to repeat that. The President of the United States has been credibly implicated in federal crimes, which likely directly affected the outcome of the 2016 election. Well, in the wake of all of this, Fox News went to DEFCON 1 and shifted into crisis management mode to protect their Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, was clear to everybody else, except maybe the propaganda plebs that make up most of their audience. Now look, it's Fox, so I'm sure you can imagine the hilarious desperation, but I'm only going to address one specific instance from all of their many hours of propaganda yesterday. And this came from none other than their goofiest grease spot and Trump's shadow chief of staff, Sean Hannity, interviewing the lawyer whose law degree has really only ever served to get him into political positions, Mark Levin. He certainly is not the legal expert he's desperate for everybody to believe he is. Take a look, and I'll break it down bit by stupid bit.
Mark, how did we get from Russia and that this is it after we're almost at 500 days?
All right, I want to address Michael Cohen. How did we get to that? I want to help the law professors, the constitutional experts, the criminal defense lawyers, the former prosecutors, and of course the professors. I want to help them understand what the law is.
Well, that didn't take long. Get ready, because Mark Levin is going to explain to all of the law professors, all of the constitutional experts, all of the criminal defense lawyers, all the former prosecutors, and, for some reason, again, all the professors, something that all of them don't know. Wow. I'm super excited. This is going to be some next level shit.
The general counsel for the Clinton mob family, Lanny Davis.
Wait, what? He wants to be taken seriously, and he begins his BS with the Clinton mob family. Come on. Is that Mark Levin or Alex Jones wearing a Mark Levin mask?
Lanny Davis. He had his client plead to 2 counts of criminality that don't exist.
He had his client plead guilty to crimes that don't even exist. Talk about a douche chill. How does that even work? Short answer, it doesn't.
These campaign finance violations that all over TV, they're saying implicates the President of the United States directly. First, let's back up. It is a guilty plea. It is a plea bargain between a prosecutor and a criminal who doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in prison.
A criminal? How can Michael Cohen be a criminal if, like you just said, Mark, there was no crime committed, dingus? That was a ridiculous and rapid flip-flop. But please, sir, go on.
Number two, just because a prosecutor says that somebody violated a campaign law doesn't make it so. He's not the judge. He's not the jury. We didn't adjudicate anything. It never went to court. That's number two.
Well, let me educate you on the law, Mark. It didn't need to be adjudicated in court because under penalty of perjury, he admitted guilt. He pled guilty in federal court. A team of prosecutors, a federal judge, his own attorney, and he himself all agreed there was a crime committed and that he had indeed committed it. In fact, the judge specifically asked him, saying, quote, "Mr. Cohen, when you took all of these acts that you've described, did you know that what you were doing was wrong and illegal?" To which Michael Cohen answered, and again under penalty of perjury, quote, "Yes, Your Honor," unquote. Please, Mark Levin, continue.
A campaign expenditure under our federal campaign laws is an expenditure solely for campaign activity. A candidate who spends his own money or even corporate money for an event that occurred not as a result of the campaign, it is not a campaign expenditure. Let me give a few examples to help people understand this, especially the American people.
Well, before Marky Mark gets to his example, let me explain, reading from the Federal Election Commission website, what he is intentionally leaving out. 3 words: in-kind contribution. Quote, "An in-kind contribution is a non-monetary contribution. Goods or services offered free or at less than the usual charge result in an in-kind contribution. Similarly, when a person or entity pays for services on the committee's behalf, the payment is an in-kind contribution. And here is where you need to pay attention. An expenditure made by any person or entity in cooperation, consultation, or concert with, or at the request or suggestion of a candidate's campaign is also considered an in-kind contribution to the candidate," unquote. So zip it, Levin. You are either ignorant and therefore your advice worthless and primetime platform unwarranted, or you're a liar who is trying to mislead Americans who trust you as a legal authority. Gross. Anyway, as previously promised, or threatened, depending on how you see it, here is what he thinks is a rock-solid, ironclad example of what he's talking about.
Let's say, I wrote these down. Let's say a candidate had said, "We owe vendors a whole lot of money. We've had disputes with them, but I want you to go ahead and pay them. I'm a candidate. I don't want all this negative publicity." So he says to his private lawyer, "You pay them. I'll reimburse you. Get it done." Is that illegal? It's perfectly legal.
So, human pothole Mark Levin thinks that paying off women with whom you've had sex while your wife was pregnant with your child so they don't talk to the press and torpedo your campaign, he thinks that's the same thing as paying a vendor, like a caterer who brought some sandwiches for a campaign lunch. Seriously, this is not the same thing as this. Look, yesterday was a good day for America and for justice. And the zeros over at Fox News cannot stand that. But rest assured, in the next couple of months, there is going to be even more damaging information dropped on Trump and his troglodytes. And we are all going to get to sit back and be Michael Jackson in that meme, eating popcorn and enjoying the show.